geez, I might just need to reuse today's thumbnail for today's video, yesterday's thumb. I might just have to reuse the thumbnail from the previous video because I was not expecting this. First of all, I was expecting this. Anyway, scheduled ban and restricted announcement, that's here today. It's March 5th. Technically, it's March 4th, but you're watching this on March 5th, but it's marked as March 5th. That's because it's March 5th in New Zealand.
Get on with it!
Anyway, no changes to Classic Constructed. Good, because right now I think Classic Constructed's actually in a pretty solid spot overall. Regardless of how you feel about the format, I think if you just look at week 4 data, it's looking pretty solid. The fact that we have so much parity across the board minus Aurora, which I think is just a knee-jerk reaction to the change in the format, and I think other decks are going to rise up to meet her there. I don't think this format should have been changed, and I think they nailed it on the head. The changes in Blitz. This was the most, I wouldn't say most necessary. I will be honest with you, I've played about 100 games in Blitz over the past 3 weeks. Maybe more, actually, now that I think about it, because I did play a couple of different decks. But I definitely 100 games in Blitz, and in playing it, I've actually come to realize that Needle needed to go. But they did not stop there, and this is the part that is absolutely crazy, and what is basically turned the format completely upside down. And I think a lot of decks are going to be shifting into top spots, some decks taking a step back, possibly even including Blaze. Traverse the Universe is gone, and Crown of Seeds is back. Somehow, Crown of Seeds has returned.
Somehow Palpatine returned.
They talk about why they got rid of Zephyr Needle, and I think it's exactly right. They should have probably just done this when they did it for Classic Constructed. That way, anyone that played in Blitz Armories didn't have to deal with it. Luckily, the Blitz Armories that I played in, no one was really running it. People were just a little bit more casual. Now, as skirmish season approaches, this is exactly what I hoped would happen, what I predicted would happen, and it is what they did, and I think that's the exact right call. Now, going forward, even further down the path, Traverse the Universe is banned, meaning that Zen is actually probably not going to LL. Here's the crazy part. Even if Zen didn't gain the extra benefit from the daggers, Zen can still just LL himself. Like, he can blink out of the LL format. He can LL in a single season because he's just that good. He has all of the answers in Blitz, even more so than he does in CC. Because it's a 40-card deck, he can find all of his Transcend cards faster. It's always more consistent than other decks, and Traverse the Universe is always live. They take that away, and now he's probably going to stick around for a while, though I could still see him being like pretty good in the format. It's just kind of crazy. Like, he could still just LL himself. There's a possibility, but it is far lower than what it was before now that they've done this. Now, the flip side of this is that if you've been playing Blitz, or heck, if you've been playing Flesh and Blood at all, even Classic Constructed, there's this hero called Syndra, and she has 5-card hands at all times, and sometimes she has 6-card hands because she can throw daggers and her chain links are always hitting, right? That's the reality of Flesh and Blood, is that Syndra can do that. And the crazy part about that is in a format where everyone is about 20 health, she can just steamroll a lot of things. Kind of like what Data Doll was doing prior to them removing Hadron Collider. She kind of does that same sort of thing in the format. And they've given certain heroes another tool to combat that. Funnily enough, I think Syndra was actually presumably a best deck in the format until maybe you play like Blaze the super YOLO aggro way that I put out a video on and like a deck guide on. If you played that and you went, probably if you went first or second, but most likely if you went first, you'd actually just win that matchup just about every single time. But I think she was one of the best decks in the format, and now decks have access to Crown of Seeds, another prevention effect that stops her chain link connections. This is a huge change to the format. Crown of Seeds coming back into the format is groundbreaking because it means that certain heroes, basically all of the Earth heroes, now have one of the most powerful pieces of equipment to ever exist in the game at their fingertips. That means Terra, CYB Guardian Terra, can basically just do what Oldhim did, and in some cases, maybe a little bit more aggressively, now that CYB exists. Kind of crazy. CYB, well, maybe not even CYB, but you could just run CYB. This is a Crown of Seeds Verdance can now like pitch stack a combo and just blow people up for like 20 something damage. That's kind of exciting to me. I'm going to put a deck tech out on Crown of Seeds Verdance. I was already big on Verdance in the last Blitz meta, and she went from kind of falling away a little bit with the aggressive meta that Blitz is in to now being one of the best decks in the format. So if you want to see a Blitz deck tech on Verdance, which is now one of the best decks in the formats, let me know. I will definitely do that. Put it down in the comments below. Heck, you can even play Florian now with Crown of Seeds, play defensively, build up an insane amount of rune chance. That is like, you remember, that was like what Viserai did. Viserai's only thing when he first hit the scene in Blitz, when Blitz was first created, was he played like super defensively. He built a bunch of rune chance. You would just play OTK Viserai, and now you could do OTK Florian. I don't know, I'm kind of hyped about that as well. This format just got a lot crazier, a lot more interesting, and it could devolve into sort of a snowmageddon, if you will, of fatigue, kind of like what we saw a couple of years ago when some of those heroes were just absolutely just awash. What's the best way to say it? They were burying people in, you know, frostbites and disruption, and when that was at its peak, we might return, or at least get a little inkling of that as well. But this is a huge change. That's not the only thing that they changed. They also restricted Electromagnetic Somersault. I didn't expect Electromagnetic Somersault, but that is definitely the card that Starvo, I think, really capitalized with on the most recent LL event, that calling that they had run by MinMax Games, actually, in Chicago last year. It was just so good. He was just so good. And he was too good, and I was hoping that they would kind of nerf him a little bit, and I think Emag Somersault is one of those cards that you can definitely see the power level. When you're trying to triple fuse and you want to hold on to those cards, you can block with them on your opponent's turn, and then you can bounce them back to your hand and triple fuse, right? So you don't have to lose out on a fuse in order to preserve some life total. Now you can do both with Emag Somersault, so they've taken that down to 1, and this should throttle him back just a little bit, which is great. And then finally, like, are you kidding me? This is so unexpected. So Commoner, they remove Rosetta Thorn, the best weapon in the game. They remove Waning Moon, the other best weapon in the game. They remove Zephyr Needle, the other best weapon in the game. All of these are the best weapon in the game. At me in the comments, tell me which one's the best actually in the game. And then Ball Lightning comes back into the format. This is what's crazy, is Ball Lightning's return. Like, just, okay, so it's a lightning attack with built-in go again, and it like buffs lightning attacks. You know who might really enjoy that? Acilio. Acilio might really enjoy that. I'm just saying. I mean, at the same time, like, Aurora might really enjoy that. Briar might really enjoy. All to say that Ball Lightning returning to the Commoner format is probably the biggest, well, and these weapons leaving is like the biggest shakeup I've ever seen of a form. Well, since they banned all the books, that's the big thing. This is nuts. What a crazy change. Like, this makes me want to play Commoner. What a crazy ban and suspended announcement. I should say ban and restricted announcement. The next one's on Thursday, May 27th. This is just before the release of High Seas, which, by the way, I have a very fun video coming out tomorrow about High Seas and about pirates in general. So if you're a fan of pirates, then hit the subscribe button on this video. Of course, make the number, go to the other number, and then you'll see that video tomorrow. It's quite an interesting one. I hope you end up enjoying it. What do you think about this scheduled ban and restricted announcement? Are you a fan? Are you not a fan? Are you interested in playing Blitz now that you can play with Crown of Seeds? I need to make an entire freaking video about how that format changed. My mind is spinning, if you can't tell. So yeah, maybe I'll get on that as well. As always, everybody, thanks for watching.